Before the noise begins, before your phone lights up, before messages pull you into a dozen directions, before the weight of yesterday sneaks back into your mind, there's a sacred moment, a pause, a whisper between night and day when the world hasn't claimed you yet. That moment is yours. Most people never notice it. They wake up and reach for their phones before they even open their eyes fully. They scroll through other people's lives before remembering they have one of their own. They carry the noise of yesterday, the unfinished tasks, the arguments, the guilt, straight into today. But you don't have to. You can choose differently. Buddhist wisdom calls the morning a doorway, a chance to step into presence before the day sweeps you away. It's not about perfection or routine. It's about remembering that before the world chooses your mood, you can choose your state of mind. The first voice you hear every morning should be your own, gentle, grounded, alive. So when you wake tomorrow, don't rush. Don't let the alarm become an attack. Instead, breathe. Feel your body stretch beneath the sheets. Place your hand over your heart and whisper, I am here. I am alive. This moment is enough. It sounds simple, but it's not. We live in a culture that worships speed, that confuses busy with meaningful, that tells us every moment must be used to chase something. But this first quiet breath, this first acknowledgement of being alive, that's where your power begins. The truth is, now is all you have. The past is gone. The future hasn't arrived. What's real, what's sacred, is this heartbeat, this breath, this morning light touching your skin. When you start your day from that place, life feels less like a race and more like a rhythm. Let me tell you a story. A few years ago, I met a man named Elijah at a small monastery tucked in the hills of Northern California. He wasn't a monk. He was a burned-out tech worker who had come to spend a week in silence. On his first morning there, he told me he woke up angry that he had no Wi-Fi, no coffee machine, no noise to drown out his own thoughts. But by the third morning, something shifted. He said, I woke up and realized the birds have been singing every morning. I just hadn't been listening. That's what presence does. It doesn't add more to your life. It reveals what's already there. The warmth of sunlight through the window. The weight of your own breathing. The small miracle of existing at all. If you're breathing, you're blessed. You don't need a perfect body, perfect home, or perfect career to feel grateful. You just need awareness. That simple turning of attention inward that says, I am here. Whatever yesterday took from you, today offers you something new, the gift of another chance. Sometimes people ask me, how can I be peaceful when the world is so chaotic? And I tell them, peace doesn't mean nothing's happening around you. Peace means you're still enough to notice life happening through you. So, before you pick up your phone, pick up your presence. Sit for a moment on the edge of your bed. Feel the floor beneath your feet. Feel the air on your skin. Let the morning greet you before the world does. You'll be amazed how different your day feels when you start with intention rather than reaction. And maybe as you sit there, you'll hear a small voice inside, not loud, not dramatic, but steady whispering, this is enough, because it is. You don't have to fix everything today. You don't have to be everywhere, please everyone, or achieve something extraordinary before breakfast. You just have to be awake, truly awake. That's the essence of Buddhist teaching. Not about escape, but about arrival, about showing up fully where you are. The moment you breathe with awareness, you are practicing enlightenment in its simplest form. So tomorrow morning when the alarm sounds, pause. Don't rush into the storm of notifications or worries. Give yourself 60 sacred seconds. Breathe in. Breathe out. Place one hand over your heart and say it again. I am here. I am alive. This moment is enough. And then watch what happens. Watch how your shoulders relax. Watch how the mind that was already halfway into the day begins to soften. You might even notice that the world outside hasn't changed, but the world within you has. The way you see everything, from your morning coffee to your morning commute, feels lighter, quieter, more whole. That's the miracle of awareness. It doesn't need permission from anyone else. It's available to you the moment you choose it. If you've been feeling lost lately, if the mornings feel heavy or aimless, I want to remind you, you are not behind. You are not broken. You are simply disconnected from the quiet strength that already lives in you. And that connection can be rebuilt one mindful morning at a time. Start with this practice for the next 7 days. Before touching your phone, before checking the news, give yourself that minute of truth. Say it out loud. I am here. I am alive. This moment is enough. And as you breathe, notice the small shift, like the tide turning after a long night. That's not magic. That's presence reclaiming its place in your life. If you could begin your day grounded like this, everything else, your work, your relationships, your decisions, starts to flow from a calmer center. You'll react less, listen more, and see possibilities you used to overlook. You'll find that the peace you thought was somewhere out there has been sitting quietly inside you all along, waiting for you to notice. So as you move through this day, carry that awareness like a candle. Protect it, nourish it, and when you feel the world pulling you back into hurry and noise, pause. Return to the breath. Remind yourself, I am here. I am alive. This moment is enough. Because the truth is, you don't live your life all at once. You live it one breath at a time. And if this message resonated with you, if it reminded you that your peace is worth protecting, take a second right now to pause this video, breathe, and subscribe. Not because the algorithm demands it, but because this space is for you. A space to return to whenever you forget, whenever life gets loud, whenever you need to remember who you are beneath the noise. So stay connected, stay awake, and tomorrow morning, before the world demands a piece of you, give yourself that sacred moment. Whisper softly, I am here. I am alive. This moment is enough. You know, people always tell you to stay calm. Just breathe, they say. Don't react. Don't get angry. Stay peaceful. And for a long time, I believed that. I thought being calm meant I was strong, that I was wise, that I had control over myself. So I stayed quiet. I swallowed my words, even when something inside me was screaming. I smiled when I wanted to cry. I kept the peace, even when that peace was killing me a little bit every day. But here's what I learned. Sometimes what we call calm isn't calm at all. Sometimes it's just fear wearing a peaceful mask. You know that feeling, right? When you don't speak up because you don't want to start a fight. When you tell yourself it's not worth it. When you pretend you're fine, but your chest feels tight and your stomach won't stop twisting. That's not peace. That's avoidance. That's self-abandonment. We were taught that calm means control. That losing your temper means losing your worth. But that's not true, because calm that costs you your truth isn't peace. It's silence. And silence, when it comes from fear, isn't noble. It's heavy. It eats you from the inside. I've met so many people who think peace means never feeling anything strong again. They say, I just want to be at peace, but what they really mean is, I just want to stop hurting. And I get that. I really do. But peace isn't the absence of emotion. It's the presence of honesty. The real peace starts when you stop pretending. When you stop saying it's fine just to make everyone else comfortable. When you let yourself feel what's real, the anger, the sadness, the disappointment, the longing, that's not weakness. That's healing. I used to think my calm made me spiritual, that staying composed made me wise. But one day I realized my calm had become my cage. Every time I said, I'm okay when I wasn't, every time I smiled to keep the peace, I was losing a little bit more of myself. Until one day, I couldn't even tell what I truly felt anymore. I was calm on the outside and completely lost on the inside. That's when it hit me. Before you can find real peace, you have to stop lying to yourself. You have to stop calling your silence serenity. You have to stop calling your exhaustion acceptance. You have to stop calling your fear of conflict calm. Because real peace isn't quiet, it's honest. Sometimes the most peaceful thing you can do is finally make some noise. To cry, to scream if you need to say this hurts, to say no, to say I can't do this anymore. That's not you losing your calm. That's you reclaiming your voice. You don't have to be calm all the time. You just have to be true. Because the calm that comes after honesty, that's the kind that lasts. That's the kind that doesn't disappear the moment something goes wrong. I remember one evening, I was walking alone after a long, heavy day. I'd spent the whole week pretending everything was fine, pretending I was fine. But that night, under this pale orange sky, I just stopped walking. And I cried. Not the quiet kind, the real, shaking, ugly cry. The kind that makes you gasp for air. And when I was done, I felt lighter. Not calm exactly, but alive. For the first time in a long time, I felt real. That's what truth does. It doesn't always make you calm right away, but it frees you. And freedom, that's where real peace begins. So if you've been trying to hold it together lately, try and keep your cool while everything inside you feels like it's burning, I want you to know it's okay to stop pretending. You don't have to be the calm one today. You don't have to smile if it hurts. You don't have to keep the peace if it costs you yourself. You're allowed to feel. You're allowed to fall apart. You're allowed to be human. And maybe that's what being truly calm really means. Not forcing stillness, but letting your truth breathe. Letting your heart speak. So the next time someone tells you, just stay calm, remember, calm isn't the goal. Truth is, breathe, yes. Pause, yes. But don't disappear behind your calm. Don't hide your fire. Use your stillness to listen to what your soul's been trying to say all along. Because once you start listening, your calm will stop being something you fake and start being something you are. That's the peace you've been searching for. Not the one that silences you, but the one that finally lets you be whole. And if this message spoke to you, take a breath with me right now, because you're not alone in this. There's so many of us learning to stop being calm, just survive, and learning instead to be real so we can finally live. So if you want to keep walking this journey with me, to heal, to grow, to find the kind of peace that's honest and human, subscribe. Not for the numbers, not for the noise, but because this space is here for you. A reminder that you're not broken. You're just learning to tell the truth again. And maybe that's where calm really begins. Not when everything's perfect, but when you finally stop pretending it is. You know, one of the hardest things we'll ever have to learn in this lifetime is how to let go. People say it all the time like it's easy. Just let it go. But if you've ever really tried, you know it's not that simple. Because it's not about dropping something from your hands. It's about releasing something that's been living in your heart. Something you once held with love, with hope, with every ounce of who you were. Letting go isn't just walking away. It's learning to walk forward without needing to look back every few steps. Most of us spend our lives holding on to people, to memories, to old versions of ourselves we've outgrown. We cling because somewhere deep down we believe that if we can just hold tight enough, maybe nothing will change. But change is life's only promise, and the more we fight it, the more we hurt. You see, in Buddhism, they teach that suffering isn't caused by what happens to us. It's caused by our resistance to what is. And that's what letting go is really about. It's not about giving up. It's about giving in to the truth that life moves, people evolve, and seasons end whether we're ready or not. I remember a time in my own life when I couldn't let go of someone I loved. I told myself it was because I cared. But if I'm honest, it was fear. Fear of being alone. Fear of not knowing who I'd be without that person. Every day I'd replay moments in my head, trying to find some clue that maybe things could go back to how they were. But life doesn't rewind. It only asks you to grow. And the moment I finally stopped fighting what had already left me, something incredible happened. I could breathe again. The world didn't feel small without them. It felt bigger. I wasn't losing love. I was rediscovering myself. Letting go is an act of faith. It's trusting that what's meant for you will never need to be chased. And when something or someone leaves your life, it's not a punishment. It's redirection. It's the universe saying, "You've learned what you needed to learn here. It's time to move forward." But here's the hard part. Your mind will keep dragging you back. It'll whisper, "Maybe if I'd done this differently, things would have changed." And that's where awareness comes in. When you notice those thoughts, don't fight them. Just take a breath. Place your hand on your chest and remind yourself, I release what I cannot control. Because peace begins where control ends. Maybe for you it's not a person. It's a dream that didn't happen the way you hoped, a career path that no longer fits, or maybe it's that version of yourself that you've outgrown but still miss sometimes. It's okay. You can love who you were and still let that person go. You can honor the past without living in it. That's what maturity is. Learning to love without clinging, to remember without reliving, to care without needing to control. And let me tell you something that took me years to understand. Closure doesn't always come from another person. Sometimes closure is just you, sitting in the quiet, finally accepting that the apology may never come, that the story ended differently than you wanted, and that you'll be okay anyway. There's a peace that comes when you stop waiting for someone else to make it right and start choosing to heal yourself. If you're listening right now and you're holding on to something heavy, maybe heartbreak, regret, or the echo of a what if, I want you to know this. You don't have to let it go all at once. Start small. Loosen your grip a little. Breathe a little deeper. Remind yourself that even if your hands feel empty, your heart will soon feel lighter. Because every time you release something that no longer serves you, you create space for something new to find you. And yes, it hurts. Of course it does. But pain isn't a sign you're breaking. It's a sign you're healing. You're stretching into a bigger version of yourself. You're learning to live from a place of freedom instead of fear. And one day, you'll look back and realize that what you thought was the end was really the beginning of your becoming. So tonight, when your mind starts replaying what could have been, I want you to whisper to yourself, "Thank you for the lesson. I let you go." Let that be your prayer. Let that be your peace. And if you feel the tears coming, don't hold them back. Tears aren't weakness. They're release. They're your body's way of saying, I'm done carrying this. Remember, letting go isn't losing. It's making space for joy, for peace, for new beginnings. And if this message found you right now, maybe it's because it's time. Maybe it's the universe's gentle nudge, reminding you that you don't have to carry everything anymore. So take a breath. Put it down. Trust that life knows what it's doing, even when you don't. And hey, if this spoke to you, if you felt something soften inside you just now, stay. Subscribe. Not because of numbers or algorithms, but because this space is for reminders like this. For anyone learning, like me, that the art of letting go is really the art of coming home. To peace, to presence, to yourself. So breathe, my friend. You've held on long enough. It's time to let go and to finally let yourself be free. You know, there's something almost magical that happens when you wake up and choose gratitude. Not the kind where you just list things in a journal because you heard it's good for your mental health, but the kind that sinks deep into your chest, that makes you pause for a moment and realize, wow, I actually get to live this life today. The kind that shifts your focus from what's missing to what's already here. When gratitude starts to bloom inside you, your entire perspective changes. The world doesn't feel like something you have to fight anymore. It starts to feel like something you get to experience. And that's where compassion begins to grow. Compassion isn't pity. It's not about feeling sorry for someone or pretending to understand what they're going through. It's about seeing them, really seeing them. Seeing their struggle, their pain, their effort just to keep going, and recognizing a part of yourself in that. Because when you start to see others through the lens of compassion, you realize we're not as different as we think. Everyone's fighting something you can't see. Everyone's carrying a story you don't know. And when you remember that, it softens you. It humbles you. It brings you closer not just to people, but to life itself. We live in a world that teaches us to compete, to compare, to climb. We scroll past other people's highlight reels and start believing that life is some kind of race. But when gratitude enters your heart, you stop running. You realize that the point isn't to be ahead, it's to be here. You begin to notice small miracles again. The morning light slipping through your window, the warmth of your coffee, the sound of someone's laughter in another room. And those moments, they pull you out of your head and back into your heart, because that's where compassion lives. I remember once, years ago, I was sitting in traffic, frustrated, late, angry at the world, and I looked over to see a man in the car next to me, just sitting there with his hands gripping the steering wheel, tears streaming down his face. And in that instant, everything inside me shifted. I didn't know his story. I didn't need to. But something in me recognized that pain. And instead of anger, I felt this wave of quiet understanding. That moment taught me something I've never forgotten. Compassion begins where judgment ends. The moment you stop assuming you know someone's story, you make space to love them for simply being human. When you start your day with gratitude, your heart naturally opens up to compassion. Because gratitude grounds you in abundance. It reminds you that you already have enough. And when you feel full inside, you stop needing to take from others. You start wanting to give. You start wanting to understand. You start wanting to heal. And that's when the world begins to change. Not because everything suddenly becomes perfect, but because you do. You become the kind of person who walks into a room and brings calm instead of chaos, warmth instead of cold, love instead of fear. So tomorrow morning, before you pick up your phone, before you check the news or scroll through 100 faces you don't know, take one deep breath and whisper to yourself, thank you. Thank you for this moment, for this breath, for this life. Because gratitude doesn't just change how you feel, it changes how you see. And when your vision changes, your entire world begins to shift with it. And if this message reaches you today, maybe it's because you needed that reminder to slow down, to soften, to open your heart a little wider. Life's too short to rush through it numb. Feel it. Feel it all. the joy, the pain, the love, the loss, and let it teach you compassion. Because the more you feel, the more you understand. And the more you understand, the more love you bring into this world. If this spoke to you, if something inside you just whispered, "Yeah, that's me," then stick around, subscribe, because what we're building here isn't just another channel. It's a space for people who want to live with more heart, more gratitude, more compassion. It's a reminder day after day that you're not alone, that you matter, and that you have the power to make this world a little kinder, starting with yourself. So as you go through your day, keep this close. Gratitude is a seed, compassion is a bloom, and love is a fruit. Nurture one, and you'll grow them all. There comes a moment, somewhere between chasing and surrendering, when you realize that peace was never something you had to find. It was something you had to remember. It's not hiding in the next goal or the next person or the next place you think will finally make you whole. Peace isn't out there. It's right here, underneath all the noise, waiting for you to stop running long enough to hear it. That's what this whole journey has been about. Not learning how to become something new, but remembering what you've always been. Enough. You see, we live in a world that keeps telling us we have to be more productive, more attractive, more successful, more everything. And for a while, we believe it. We chase after every more we can find, thinking that maybe when we get there, we'll finally feel at ease. But the truth is, every time you chase peace, you push it further away. Because peace isn't something you earn. It's something you allow. It's not found in perfection. It's found in permission. The permission to just be, to breathe, to stop performing for a world that's too distracted to notice anyway, and to start living for yourself again. There was a time in my life when I thought peace meant silence, that it meant nothing could go wrong, no one could hurt me, nothing could fall apart. But life doesn't work that way. Life is messy. People change. Plans fail. Hearts break. And yet, somehow, even in the middle of all that chaos, there's a stillness that lives underneath it. A quiet that doesn't leave, no matter what happens on surface. That's the kind of peace I'm talking about. The kind that doesn't depend on circumstances. The kind that whispers, even here, you're okay. And maybe right now, you're going through something heavy. Maybe your mind feels like a storm you can't quiet, or your heart feels like it's breaking faster than you can hold it together. I want you to know you're not broken. You're just human. Peace doesn't mean you stop feeling. It means you stop fighting what you feel. It means you trust that even the hardest moments are part of your unfolding. It means you let life happen and you keep your heart open through it all. One of the most beautiful things I've learned is that you don't have to fix everything to be at peace. You just have to stop believing that you can't be peaceful until everything's fixed. Sometimes, peace looks like a deep breath in the middle of chaos. Sometimes it's walking away from what no longer fits. And sometimes it's simply sitting in the quiet and realizing you don't need to rush anywhere. You're already home. When you reach that place, that quiet center inside you, everything else starts to fall into place. You stop needing control because you finally trust. You stop comparing because you finally understand that everyone's walking their own path. You stop chasing validation because you finally see your own worth. And that's when life begins to feel lighter, freer, more alive. Because peace isn't about what's happening around you. It's about what's happening within you. So as you listen to this, take a moment to pause. Breathe in deeply. Feel your chest rise, your shoulders soften, your mind slow down. That's it. That's peace. It's not complicated. It's not far away. It's been here all along, waiting for you to return. And if this message touched something in you, if you felt even a small wave of calm while listening, I want you to stay connected. Subscribe, not because it's what everyone says to do, but because I want this space to be a reminder that no matter how loud the world gets, you can always come back here, to this stillness, to this truth, to yourself. Because peace isn't something you find at the end of your journey. It's the quiet that's been walking beside you the whole time, waiting for the moment you finally notice it's there. There's a moment in life when you stop trying to become and finally start to be. When you wake up one morning, look in the mirror, and realize you're not chasing anymore, you're arriving at yourself, at this version of you that's softer, wiser, quieter in all the right ways. The version that's tired of pretending, tired of performing, tired of trying to fit into spaces that were never built for who you really are. That's the moment growth stops being loud and starts being honest. Because the truth is, becoming isn't about adding more to yourself. It's about peeling away everything that isn't you. We spend so many years building layers. What we think people want to see, what we think will make us lovable, what we think will make us successful. And those layers can protect us for a while. They help us survive. But there comes a time when those same layers start to suffocate us. You start to feel like you're playing a part in your own life. You smile when you don't mean it. You say yes when your soul is screaming no. You shrink yourself just to fit in. And one day, you wake up and realize you're living someone else's version of your story. That's when the real work begins, the work of unbecoming. Unbecoming is sacred. It's the process of unlearning the lies you were told about who you should be and remembering the truth of who you already are. It's saying, I don't need to prove my worth anymore. It's letting go of the idea that your value depends on your productivity, your appearance, or your approval from others. It's realizing that being alive, just breathing, existing, feeling, is enough. Because when you strip it all back, when you stand there with nothing to hide behind, you start to see yourself clearly again. And that's where freedom lives. I remember a time when I was trying so hard to be enough. Every day felt like an audition. I'd walk into rooms, try to read people, to shape myself into what I thought they wanted. And even when I got their approval, it never filled me. It just made me hungrier. Because no amount of validation can feed a soul that's starving for authenticity. The moment I stopped chasing it, the moment I started saying no to things that didn't align, the moment I stopped apologizing for who I was, something shifted, the right people stayed, the noise faded, and I could finally hear myself again. Here's what I've learned. You don't find yourself by searching outside. You find yourself by coming home inside. And that home has always been there, even when you forgot its address. The more you honor your truth, the more peace you feel. The more you stand in your own light. The more you attract people who are meant to walk beside you, not people who only like the mask you used to wear. And when that happens, when you finally align with who you really are, you stop feeling like you're fighting life. You start flowing with it. So maybe this part of your journey isn't about doing more. Maybe it's about doing less. Less pretending. Less forcing. Less hiding. Maybe it's about giving yourself permission to just be. To rest, to breathe, to exist without needing to justify your presence. Because the world doesn't need another perfect person. It needs more real ones. People who are awake, alive, and unafraid to show up as they are. People like you. And if this message speaks to something inside you, if you're feeling that quiet pull to come home to yourself, then stay. Subscribe. Let's walk this part together. Not as people trying to impress the world, but as souls remembering who we've always been. Because becoming isn't about becoming someone new. It's about returning to the person you were before the world told you who to be. So take a breath. Loosen your grip. You don't need to chase your worth. It's already yours. You don't need to find your light. You are it. You don't need to be more. You just need to be here, right now, fully alive, fully you. There comes a point in your journey where you realize that everything you were searching for was never somewhere else. It was within you, quietly waiting for you to look inward instead of outward. For years, you thought the answers were in other people, in success, in love, in validation. You thought if you just got there, wherever there was, you finally feel whole. But life has this gentle, almost poetic way of teaching you that wholeness doesn't come from what you gain. It comes from what you return to, from remembering that peace, purpose, and love were never missing. You just stopped hearing them beneath all the noise. You see, the world tells you to keep moving, keep chasing, keep achieving. But sometimes the bravest thing you can do is stop. Just stop. Sit still long enough to hear the sound of your own breath, to feel your heart beating, to realize that right now, in this very moment, nothing is missing. The future can wait. The past is already spoken. All that's real, all that's ever been real, is this, the now. And when you learn to live here, not in the what-ifs or some days, but right here, you start to understand what freedom actually feels like. I used to think presence meant slowing down, but now I understand it's more than that. It's a shift in awareness. It's learning to see life not as a series of problems to solve, but as moments to experience. When you're truly present, even the simplest things, the light to the window, the laughter of someone you love, the sound of rain, become extraordinary. Because presence doesn't change your circumstances. It changes your perception. And in that shift, everything softens. We spend so much time trying to control life. We plan, we predict, we overthink, all because we're afraid of uncertainty. But what if I told you that uncertainty isn't your enemy? What if it's your teacher? The unknown is where life happens. It's where we grow, where we meet the parts of ourselves we didn't know existed. The truth is, the moment you stop trying to control the outcome is the moment life starts surprising you in the best ways. Think about it. How many of the most beautiful things in your life came when you least expected them? The friends who showed up when you thought you were alone. The opportunities that appeared after a door closed. The love that found you when you stopped looking. That's what happens when you stop gripping so tightly and start trusting a little more. Life flows where it's allowed, not where it's forced. And maybe that's what this final part is all about. Trust. Trusting yourself. Trusting the timing. Trusting that you are exactly where you're supposed to be, even if you don't have all the answers yet. Because peace isn't about certainty, it's about surrender. It's about standing in the middle of the unknown and saying, even here, I am okay. You don't need to know what's coming next. You just need to know that whatever it is, you'll meet it with strength, with grace, and with presence. Because you've been doing that all along, haven't you? Every time life broke your heart and you got back up, every time you thought you couldn't handle something, but somehow you did. That's you trusting life, even when you didn't realize it. So if you're listening to this right now, take this as a reminder. You've come so far. You survived every version of yourself that once doubted this moment would come. And now you're here. You're still growing, still becoming, still learning to trust. That's something to be proud of. And if these words found you tonight, if they stirred something deep inside you, then maybe that's your soul's way of saying, yes, I'm ready. Ready to stop running. Ready to be here. Ready to trust that life doesn't need to be perfect to be beautiful. It just needs you to be present. So breathe. Feel this moment. Let it anchor you. You are exactly where you need to be. You don't need to chase peace anymore. You are peace. You don't need to search for meaning. You are the meaning. You don't need to find the light. You've been carrying it all along. And if you've been walking this journey with me, through every part, every pause, every reflection, thank you. Thank you for showing up, not just here, but for yourself. Subscribe if you haven't yet, because this space is for us, for those who are learning to live awake, to live with heart, to live fully. Because in the end, the most powerful truth you'll ever realize is this: you were never lost. You were always on your way home. There's something deeply human about waking up and wondering, am I doing enough? You know, that quiet voice that sneaks in before your feet even touch the floor, the one that says you're behind, you should have done more, you're not there yet. We've all heard it. Some mornings it's soft, other mornings it's deafening. And for years, I believed that voice was motivation, that if I just pushed harder, achieved more, stayed busy enough, maybe I'd finally feel enough. But what I didn't realize was that I was running from myself. I wasn't chasing success. I was chasing worthiness. And that's the kind of chase you never win. It wasn't until one morning, I remember it so clearly, I woke up, sat on the edge of my bed, and for once, I didn't reach for my phone. I didn't scroll. I didn't think about yesterday or tomorrow. I just sat there and listened to my own breathing. The world outside was still. The light coming through the window was soft and almost forgiving. And in that quiet moment, I realized something. Peace doesn't come from having everything figured out. It comes from finally letting go of the need to. You see, we live in a world that celebrates constant motion. The hustle, the grind, the next big thing. But no one teaches us the power of stillness. No one tells us that it's okay to stop striving and just be. And yet, that's where the magic happens. When you stop fighting to be somewhere else, someone else, you start to see how extraordinary this exact moment already is. The air on your skin, the rhythm of your breath, the simple fact that you woke up today, those are miracles, not chores. There's a story I love about a man who spent his whole life searching for peace. He traveled from temple to temple, mountain to mountain, thinking it was hidden somewhere he hadn't been yet. One day, exhausted, he stopped by a lake. As he bent down to drink, he saw his own reflection shimmering in the water, calm, still, and perfectly peaceful. It hit him all at once. The peace he was searching for had been with him all along, just waiting for him to stop stirring the surface. And that's all we're really doing, isn't it? Stirring the surface. With worry, with comparison, with all the noise that keeps us from seeing the still water beneath. So maybe the question isn't, how do I find peace? Maybe it's, what do I need to stop doing so peace can find me? What if, instead of chasing after calm, you allowed it to rise naturally from within you? What if, for once, you gave yourself permission to slow down, not because you've earned it, but because you deserve it? When you live this way, your mornings start to feel different. You no longer wake up to chase the world. You wake up to meet it. You no longer measure your day by how much you get done, but by how deeply you were present while doing it. You start to treat yourself with the same gentleness you once reserved for others, realizing that self-compassion isn't weakness. It's wisdom, because a calm mind doesn't mean an empty mind. It means one that's learned how to choose which thoughts deserve its attention. And the most beautiful thing is, when you begin to find peace within yourself, you start to radiate it without even trying. People feel it when you walk into a room, that quiet strength, that unshakable softness. You become a mirror for others, showing them that it's okay to slow down, to breathe, to simply exist without apology. So tomorrow morning, before you pick up your phone, before you let the world tell you who to be, take a moment. Place a hand over your heart, close your eyes, and whisper to yourself, I'm already enough. Feel the truth of those words settle in your chest. Let them anchor you before the noise begins. And if these words resonate with you, if they make you breathe a little deeper or see your morning a little differently, then stay connected. Subscribe, share this message, and keep showing up, not for me, not for the world, but for yourself. Because the more you practice this, the more you return to presence, the more you'll realize that peace was never something to find. It was something to remember. So take one more deep breath. Feel that gentle rhythm that's been carrying you all along. That's life, right here, right now, whispering, you're doing just fine. There's this quiet beauty that begins to unfold when you stop living life as if it's a race and start treating it like a conversation. You know what I mean? When you finally stop trying in the morning and just listen to it, the sound of the world waking up, the air brushing against your skin, the heartbeat that reminds you you're still here. It's in that space, before the noise, before the scroll, that you get to choose what kind of human you're going to be today. Not based on yesterday's failures or tomorrow's expectations, but on what your heart needs right now. I used to wake up and reach for my phone before my eyes were even fully open. I'd scroll through other people's lives, other people's wins, and before my feet touched the floor, I'd already lost a day because I'd given my peace away, traded it for comparison, for distraction, for a sense of urgency that wasn't even mine. And I'll tell you something, that kind of living wears you down. It makes your mornings heavy, your soul restless. You start chasing everything except the one thing you actually want, stillness. But the truth is, peace isn't something you find by running. It's something you uncover when you stop running. It's underneath all the noise, beneath the stories you tell yourself about who you should be. It's in the pauses you're too afraid to take. I remember one morning, I left my phone on the counter, stepped outside, and just stood there barefoot in the grass. The world was still waking, birds, wind, light, and for the first time in a long time, I felt home, not in a place, but in myself. That's when I realized peace isn't a destination. It's a decision. Every single day, you have the chance to make that decision again. You can choose to protect your energy like it's sacred, because it is. You can choose to stop letting small things steal your calm. You can choose to forgive yourself for the days you forget all of this and start over. Because peace isn't about being perfect. It's about remembering that you always have the power to begin again. There's a story I once heard about a monk who was sweeping the temple floor. Someone asked him, "Why do you sweep it every day if it gets dusty again tomorrow?" The monk smiled and said, "Because peace isn't about the floor being clean. It's about the act of cleaning." That hit me hard, because that's life, isn't it? We keep waiting for everything to stay perfect, when really, peace is found in the gentle practice of returning to presence, returning to love, returning to now. So maybe tomorrow morning, instead of rushing straight into your to-do list, take a breath and ask yourself one question. What kind of energy do I want to carry today? Maybe it's calm. Maybe it's gratitude. Maybe it's hope. Whatever it is, speak it out loud. Set it like an intention, not as a wish for the world to be perfect, but as a promise to meet the world from a peaceful place. And the more you do this, the more you anchor yourself before the noise begins, the stronger your inner calm becomes. It's like building a muscle one small morning at a time. You'll start to notice that traffic doesn't bother you the way it used to. Someone's rude comment won't ruin your day. You'll find yourself smiling for no reason other than the fact that you can. That's what happens when you stop being reactive and start being rooted. And listen, If this message resonates with you, if you're tired of waking up heavy and you're ready to start your days with more clarity, more intention, more peace, then stay here with me. Subscribe, share this space with someone who might need it, and let's build a community that starts every morning awake, grounded, and alive. Because at the end of the day, peace isn't about escaping the world. It's about learning how to walk through it without losing yourself. So tomorrow, when your alarm goes off and the world starts calling your name, take a moment before you give a piece of yourself away to everyone else. Give one to you. Whisper softly, I am here. I am enough. And this moment right here is everything. You know, when it all comes down to it, this journey we're on, it's not about becoming someone new. It's about remembering who we've been all along. Beneath the noise, beneath the rush, beneath all the stories we tell ourselves about not being enough, there's this quiet, steady truth waiting for us to return. And maybe that's what these mornings are really for. Not to fix ourselves, not to chase perfection, but to come home, to the present, to our breath, to the peace that's been here the whole time. If there's one thing I hope you carry with you after watching this, it's that you don't need to wait for your life to get easier to feel calm. You can choose peace now, right here, in the middle of all the imperfection. Because peace is a reward at the end of your journey. It's the way you walk it. And hey, if this message found you at the right time, if it reminded you to breathe, to slow down, or to see your life with a little more softness, then I'd love for you to stick around. Hit that subscribe button, not because I said something profound, but because deep down, you know you need more of this kind of energy in your life, the kind that grounds you, the kind that reminds you of what really matters. This space, this channel, it's not about me, it's about us. It's about building a community of people who want to live with more awareness, more intention, and more heart. So if that's you, welcome. You're home. Until next time, take a deep breath, feel your heartbeat, and remember, you are alive, you are enough, and this very moment, this one right here, is everything.